displaying that uncertainty with the shape of the note is a feature of evening. And again, Noach has this uncertainty, and we're seeing that because in the katon, in the fact that more than one thing can be going on. Vihine, and readily, with a mercha, so this lightly ties us to what's gone before, but focuses us forward on what's going to come afterwards. Darkness had started, and readily it presented important factual proof of its discovery, as suggested by the shape of the directional reading mark. And again, the pronoun its is a little vague here. I'm not quite sure if he's saying that the good news that was presented by the Yonah is what Noach is focusing on, or whether it's just the fact that the return of the Yonah is what he's focusing on. And that is going to lead forward to Alei Zait, a leaf of olive with a tipcha. This is something that is going to focus us back on the phrase that's come before, on Vihine, and it's going to pause slightly afterwards. A leaf of olive which the pigeon brought along with a matching object for both. Just as the olive tree withstood the storms of the flood, so did the bird preserve its identity and purity, as expressed by the closing shape of the reading mark. And again, I've found it a little difficult to see exactly how he has imparted all of this meaning to the fact that there's a tipha. So he's saying that there's something new that the pigeon is bringing him, and its report is something that is outstanding about it, and that's why the tipha is closing that off. And when he comes to the question of purity, one of the concerns that the world had to ultimately face the flood for was that species, including plants in the ground, were perhaps mixing. And the fact that we see alei zait, a leaf of olive that is untainted, i.e. that nothing mixed has happened about it, because we don't know what might have happened given what was happening in the world before. Certainly that might be where he gets the concept of purity. But again, I don't see a direct connection other than the fact that it makes a specific a reference to a particular type of branch. Taraf, plucked.
Sorry. Just the beginning part of that sentence. Was the pigeon brought along with a matching object for both? Both what? What's it I'm lost.
I would presume that means for something that both the pigeon could keep and something that Noach could have.
Oh.
But again, I don't see any hint in the note or the text that tells us of the fact that there is doubleness here. Certainly the sound of the word alei sounds exactly like the plural of leaves of, which would also be pronounced alei. So other than the fact that the word, when you hear it spoken but don't see it written, has a plural to it, and the plural sounds exactly like the singular, might tell you that there is a plural here. But I don't see any other way of finding the plural in there.
Okay, so even if we did, and we assumed it brought back a matching olive leaf for him and her, what is the meaning to that? Like, there's got to be a reason that was put in there why the pigeon brought one back for itself. Like it
And
brought back
don't
one as
forget,
part
don't
of the
forget,
report.
you've been cooped up. There's water all around. You're not sure whether anything has survived. You found a souvenir that something has in fact survived,
Souvenir.
or proof, or something that you can pin your hopes on, or whatever you want to call it.
Right. So pigeon would care about souvenirs.
We are implying that the pigeon has the ability to impart knowledge and to discuss with Noah the strategy. So we're seeing that at least in some metaphoric sense, it has an understanding of the situation, and as to whether it has the level of intelligence that we're ascribing to it, or whether it's just acting out of instinct. It smells something good, it sees something good, it wants one too. That I don't know.
Or maybe it's for the other winged things.
He's making pizza.
Okay.
So again, Tara, plucked, with a munach. So this is going to separate itself out from what has happened before and then lead into the new circumstance afterwards. Even though the olive is bitter, the pigeon plucked it directly from the tree, which is a clear proof for Noach about the situation, as confirmed by the shape of the reading mark. So we see here that the dove is acting against its own nature in picking something bitter and still bringing it with. So it's separating itself out from its past and bringing a symbol that will lead to things that come from there on. And the other separation from the past is that before there was nothing and now there is something. And this changes Noach's anxiety into clarity. Befiha, by its mouth, with the etmechta, which is going to stabilize us in the middle of the sentence. It brought evidence by its mouth that the level of the trees was already accessible, as specified by the stabilizing shape of the reading mark. So quite obviously, having some life having been sustained is a major feature of stability, and the bird manipulates its world with its mouth. That's how it accesses the world most clearly, and using its mouth is again the way that it's giving its major communication to Noach. Vayeda should be in Noach. So it's a zaket katan there. Yes, so that's a monach. That's again beginning with a zaket katan. It's going to separate us out. So it's a little bit unclear what the note under the yud is. That's a munach, so that's again that straight line, and then going to go forward from there. So if you want to correct it in the text, you can. And he realized, Vayeda, yes. Noach evaluated the message of the pigeon, and he realized its significance. he saw the flood was coming to an end, as illustrated by the shape of the reading mark. Again, we see a definite separation from things that have come before and leading into what's going to go afterwards. So gaining this knowledge of the change in status of the world allows things to proceed forward. Noach with a katon. So this has those two dots, so we're expecting some double meaning to Noah's name here. Not only did Noach become aware that the olive tree had survived the turbulence, but he also built up hopes that in a short time arable land for plantations would begin to reappear as conveyed by the bipartite shape of the reading mark. So not only do we have one thing, but very soon we could have many, many things, and situation now, situation as it could be, this certainly tells us that there is a double message in what Noach is realizing. Ki kalu, because eased, with a mercha, is going to slightly connect to what has come before, but mostly sweep us forward into what's going to come afterwards. Since the conditions of the ground have improved, also his mind was calmed. And because eased became the survival, he began to make practical plans for the near future, as demonstrated by the directional shape of the reading mark. So because he knew all the things before, then he could ease himself. Not kikalu hamayim, but his mind became eased, and therefore the situation became eased. Hamayim, the waters, with a tipcha. This is going to focus us back on the things that have come before and pause slightly afterwards. Although the waters were still the dominating factor in the area, they were gradually vanishing, as depicted by the closing shape of the directional reading mark. So the waters are going to focus us on the fact that they think the situation has become eased, i.e. there's less of them, and we're going to pause after that because we're going to separate out into what's going to come after. Me'al, from over. This is a mercha, so this gently connects us to what has come from before. So notice, we had a pause that separated us, and then a note that slightly connects us. So we're going to try and see what's gone on here. From over, number 14. Since they were shrinking in extent from over the surface of land, Noach deduced that the water was also declining in depth, as signified by the directional shape of the reading mark. So not only is its depth, me'al, how much it is over the land, going down, but he's saying that the extent, the portion of the land that it's on is also going down. So how much me'al, how much from over, and also how much connected to what's come from before. So in that way we get both a little bit of a separation from the phrase before, that kikalu hamayim, and we also get a connection to it, talking both about depth and extent. Haaretz, with a sof pasuk, the earth. This is going to pause with a major intent on the word. He expected that without great delay, the earth would start to be reusable, and vast lands occupied by water would be reclaimed. So the earth now becomes the focus, it now becomes the point of stability, and it now becomes the object of Noah's hopes as well. This sentence contains many accents with various details, e.g. it could be formulated much shorter without loss of basic meaning, like Vatavoh hayonah ve'ali zayit b'fiha vayeda. So the question is that there are words here that are not necessary. So the word taraf, that it grabbed, that it plucked it with its mouth, we don't need that. In fact, v'hinei hevi alei zayit, it brought it. Why do we have to say that it brought it with his mouth? So we've got a whole bunch of things that obviously beg for more interpretation in this sentence, because there are extra words, and we have to realize that whenever there's a word that's not necessary in terms of context, then it must be there to emphasize a new point or a new fact or a new detail.
Sorry, can I just ask, in number 14, I
Mhm.
just can't see what's under the me'al. Is that a
It's a
tavir
mercha.
or a mercha? Okay.
It's a mercha. Sorry. So that's going to, again, slightly connect to what's come from before, focuses forward. And again, we're slightly connecting something that already the tipcha has separated out. So it has to have some ability to both be connected and separated. So all of a sudden, when you have that phrasing together, a tipcha and a mercha, you have to get a little bit of something double there as well. So we're going to read the sentence. Vatavo elav hayona le'et erev v'hinei ale zayit taraf b'fiha vayeda Noach hikalu hamayim me'al haaretz. And I think we're going to stop there for the evening. Do we have any questions or any points that are raised that are a little difficult?
Thank you,
All
Chair.
right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.